Takeshi Kovacs finds himself in an intolerable situation during a revolution on the planet Sanction 4. The conflict is dragging on, and his mercenary work isn't worth the suffering. A freelance pilot approaches him with a daring and highly illegal proposition: the theft of an alien artifact from the middle of a conflict zone. Of course, they need to break into a government internment camp and rescue Tanya Wardani, the xenoarchaeologist who discovered the artifact. They'll also require the resources of Matthias Hand, an unscrupulous corporate operative and war profiteer with the connections to get them equipment, clearance, and soldiers for protection are recovering the archaeological find. The conflict zone proves even deadlier than anticipated, if you can believe it, with nuclear and experimental nanotech weapons being deployed. Sabotage, corporate rivalries, and personal rancor also impede their progress, and that's even before the crew discovers the danger these ancient aliens left behind along with their artifacts. Broken Angels is a sequel to Altered Carbon, but aside from the returning character of Takeshi Kovacs, it is a wildly different type of science fiction novel. Where Altered Carbon is a neo-noir mystery set on Earth, Broken Angels is a heist story during wartime on the distant planet of Sanction 4. It also draws in a lot of elements from military science fiction and even cosmic horror. While the tone and prose style used by Richard K. Morgan remains similar, the nature and action of the story diverge substantially from the previous book. For a science fiction novel, Broken Angels frequently entertains non-rational and non-scientific ideas. The individual running the soul market, where the recovered consciousness of dead soldiers can be purchased for resurrection into new bodies, intentionally styles himself after the voodoo Loa, Baron Samadi. More than one character talks about how approaching the cosmos with a strictly rationalist, materialist perspective is both inhuman and totally at odds with how they all experience the universe. It certainly calls to mind Arthur C. Clarke's quote about technology and magic becoming indistinguishable at a certain point. In fact, this novel, with a few alterations, could easily pass as a fantasy story full of necromancers, dead civilizations, magical armaments, and the like, with all its central ideas and plot largely intact. In some ways, the perspective of a few characters reminded me of the Jamaican voodoo posse in Predator 2. Here is this science fiction movie set 10 minutes into the future, and King Willie, the leader of an urban drug gang, talks about the alien predator in terms of a vengeful emanation from the spirit world. Many of the themes from Altered Carbon continue into Broken Angels. The commodification and disposability of the human body is on full display here, in no small part because of the war taking place all throughout the novel. The soldiers on both sides alternately seem committed and exhausted as they fight and die and are resurrected to fight again. Kovacs is perhaps the most cynical and hard-bitten, since he's already endured decades of this sort of thing before as a UN envoy commando. Governments, corporations, and other groups use up people in conflicts that seem increasingly pointless and without end. Even death is not a release. The leftover alien technology that humans have used to leapfrog their way into space colonization, and the ambivalence toward it, is a thematic concern brought up by different characters. Hand voices his idea of corporations pushing things forward and how much farther they all could have gone. But Sujiati contends that By using someone else's shortcut, humanity has already gone too far too fast, and we are not ready for what else is out there. Both ends of the argument are shown to have valid reasoning, and no clean answers are given. These perspectives are relevant given the contemporary moment of increasing skepticism about techno-optimism and which alleged advancements have actually had a net positive impact on human life and civilization. The rapport between Kovacs and Tanya Wardani is pretty fun, giving the story some humor, friction, and banter that adds to the flavor of the novel without slowing it down. The presence of strong characters like them prevents the novel from sliding into either too much abstraction or into purely plot-driven action with no lasting relevance. For the most part, I think Broken Angels charts a good middle ground between the pulpy adventure and cerebral ends of the science fiction spectrum. The momentum stays up because Kovacs and his crew are constantly encountering new obstacles. Corporate espionage, sabotage within the team, radiation poisoning, experimental nanotech that no one can control, inexplicable alien artifacts, and being targets of both sides of the armed conflict mean there's little time for the characters or the audience to let down their guard. Every time they manage to find a workaround to one of these complications, another one rises, or even sometimes the solution to one problem makes for another problem down the line. On the flip side, this also means there is a lot going on. It can feel like a bit much at times, and I can see where the pace of the novel might be exhausting or irritating to some readers. Broken Angels is almost totally different from Season 2 of the Netflix adaptation, so there is no need to fear you may have spoiled the book for yourself if you've already watched the show. I'll also say that the books Altered Carbon and Broken Angels are superior to the Netflix show overall. But what do you, the audience at home, think? Have you read Broken Angels? Where do you think it ranks among the Takeshi Kovacs books? Does it sound like the type of science fiction you enjoy? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my peculiar notions. If you appreciate this channel and want to support it, you know what to do. You can also take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel of another YouTube creator you enjoy, or the algorithm will sell your digital consciousness to the highest bidder. Until next time, read some good science fiction, live, and be well.